Here it is. Peacemakers Needed.
The Savior's atonement made it possible for us to overcome all evil, including contention. Make no mistake about it, contention is evil. Jesus Christ declared that those who have the spirit of contention are not of him, but are of the devil, who is the father of contention. And the devil stirreth up the hearts of men to contend with anger one with another. Those who foster contention are taking a page out of Satan's playbook, whether they realize it or not.
President Nelson was early in his surgical career, or was he?
He was an intern.
An intern, okay.
Yeah.
And he was in this surgical room, and the surgeon was notorious for his temper, and at one point got so upset that he threw a scalpel right across the room, and it went into President Nelson's arm.
Full of germs.
Right? Yeah.
You know, he's been cutting on somebody with this.
Yeah, like there's a reason you scrub up before they go into surgery, and this is for all the rules. And everything turned out okay, but
he lost control.
Absolute control, and he could have done irreparable damage, you know? So, that was a very poignant example.
So how do we learn to control our anger?
But this experience left a lasting impression on me. In that very hour, I promised myself that whatever happened in my operating room, I would never lose control of my emotions.
Well, and I was going to say, now some people might be throwing knives and things around or whatever, but more often, it's words.
Words. They cut deep too.
They do. And I appreciate that we are talking about contention. Contention is just this, it's a lot of things, but a need to be right.
Yeah.
Right? And most of the time it's an opinion.
Pride breeds contention.
Yeah, right? Because I don't know, I'm making up statistics, but like 80% or 90%, whatever. Most of the things that we deal in day out are opinions, you know?
Yep.
And it's this need for me to exert my opinion
Yeah.
and to prove that mine is the right way or whatever.
We all think we're right.
And then we just keep going down that, you know? But and it's also being the thing, you know, I'm thinking of road rage and I'm thinking, goodness, all the things I ever get upset with anybody for in the car, you know, another car doing, I have surely done the same things. You know, going too fast, cutting people off. Who hasn't done that on accident?
Right, yeah.
Who hasn't been
and
that
we
driver?
don't know what's going on in that person's head, in their life right now when they cut you off and we get mad. And I don't know how many...
And for what purpose?
How many...
We're in a car alone. And we get angry at nothing and nobody.
Yeah.
What a waste of our
How
own
many viral videos
energy.
have you seen of somebody's... I saw somebody ramming into somebody else's car and pushing them or getting out and starting fights.
Einstein said peace cannot be kept by force. It can only be achieved by understanding.
We're talking about words, right? Cutting deep. We were talking about that. And that's what he said in his talk. He said,
I also vowed that day never to throw anything in anger, whether it be scalpels or words.
And he says,
even now, decades later, I find myself wondering if the contaminated scalpel that landed in my arm was any more toxic than the venomous contention that infects our civic dialogue and too many personal relationships today.
He says, civility and decency seem to have disappeared during this era of polarization and passionate disagreements. You know, I really think, I said decide to decide already once, and I think that that's very important.
Yeah.
That we need to make decisions before something happens. What will I do if someone hurts my feelings, if someone is mean to me, if someone yells at me, how am I going to handle it? Make a plan and decide what you're going to do.
And I dare say, in practically speaking, and there's lots of other things, and of course we're talking about spiritual things, but for goodness sakes, just pause. and take a breath.
Yeah.
If we would all, before whatever's about to come out of our mouth comes out, just
like they used to say,
close your
count to
eyes,
10.
Pause, breathe, count to 10, so that we stop knee-jerk reacting.
That's
you know,
it, yeah.
and over time, you train yourself to do that, and it becomes a habit.
Right.
And then you stop getting that initial kickback. It really does happen.
It works because
thing.
I am getting better.
Yeah.
You know, it's incremental,
Yeah.
right? And I am better, much better. And of course, the medication helps.
Yeah.
Too.
But isn't discipline the act of taking up our agency and choosing?
Yeah.
And choosing?
Yeah.
Right? Isn't that what
Yeah.
discipline is? Because
Yeah.
we have agency.
We think other people make us angry.
Yeah. Oh.
And that if someone else makes us angry, then we can't help it.
Right. Yeah.
And they don't understand that that's not true. I
Right.
want to just share 2 paragraphs
Perfect.
out of his Peacemakers Needed. Because we need to hear what he said. He's the prophet. And he says, anger never persuades. How many times has somebody gotten mad at you because you don't think the same way they do? Does that make you want to change your mind?
Yeah.
You know, if you say something ugly to my comment or a post on my Facebook or my Instagram, is that going to make me change?
Right.
Want to be different?
Yeah.
You know, no. Anger never persuades. Hostility builds no one. Contention never leads to inspired solutions. In other words, you can't have the Spirit. If you want to be led by the Spirit, you can't do those things.
Yep.
You can't. If you want the Spirit to give you a solution, then you've got to control your passions so that you can hear the Spirit when it talks to you. Regrettably, we sometimes see contentious behavior even within our own ranks. We hear of those who belittle their spouses and children, of those who use angry outbursts to control others, and those who punish family members with the silent treatment. I've never done that. We hear of youth and children who bully and of employees who defame their colleagues. My dear brothers and sisters, this should not be. As disciples of Jesus Christ, we are to be examples of how to interact with others, especially when we have differences of opinion. One of the easiest ways to identify a true follower of Jesus Christ is how compassionately that person treats other people. What is the solution? The new law he gives unto us is that we should love one another. If we love each other, we're not going to yell at each other. And when we think of it that way, if you're yelling at somebody, you're really telling them, I don't love you. I love myself.
Yeah.
Selfishness and pride. That's going to come up a lot too. Those are the things we have to change so that we can become like the Savior.
I just think back professionally, especially in work situations. I remember one Friday afternoon, I was an assistant principal in middle school, and school ends, and on an average day, the school gets out, we get the kids off on the buses and outside, I go back to my office, and then there's some chairs outside the office, and there were always a couple of teachers there that needed to talk through something or had a question or whatever. So it was the end of the day, rotating door, talking to everybody. And I just remember this one day in particular because it was one person, and then the next, and then the next, and the next. And it all had to do with scuffles, with people
bickering.
not communicating well and bickering and communicating well and bickering and all that stuff. Yeah. And I just sat there like the peacekeeping whatever
Guru.
Yeah. And just talking everybody through all their things. But it all came down to these things, that selfish perspective, that not paying attention to the other person.
Yeah.
Not trying to even read the other person, like to understand.
Yeah.
Some of the in good organizations that I've been in, a lot of times in workplaces we'll have like meeting norms, rules to go by during a meeting or whatever.
That's a good idea.
It is. And some that were common and that have stuck with me, one was seek first to understand.
Yeah.
So if you're talking to me, before I come back at you all upset, I cannot respond until I have heard fully what you've said, and I'm trying to understand. Why do you feel that way? Why do you think that's a good idea? What's the, and to try to understand. And then the second one is to presume positive intentions.
Yeah.
Right?
Don't think the worst.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And most of the time, not always, but most of the time, that person who comes in and tells you how you should have done something, is it really annoying and frustrating? Sure. Mm-hmm. Are they trying to be annoying and frustrating? Probably not. They are probably trying to help. Yeah. No, but that's where a lot of this comes from.
It's true.
Most of it
we can't be patient with each other. If we get annoyed, we're got our minds somewhere else, and we don't want to be bothered.
It's amazing that any two human beings can ever get on the same wavelength.
I know when I'm on my computer and I'm working and I'm trying to work on something, and my husband wants to tell me about something that really isn't important, and I'm trying to do something important. Those are those times. Yeah. I have to love him. I have to love him and
seek first to understand.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Charity is the antidote to contention. Charity is the spiritual gift that helps us to cast off the natural man, who is selfish, defensive, prideful, and jealous.
This life really is about how we are going to manage our day-to-day living.
Yeah.
So that every day we are incrementally becoming more like Jesus Christ.
Please listen carefully. If there is anything virtuous, lovely, or of good report or praiseworthy that we can say about another person, whether to his face or behind her back, that should be our standard of communication.
So back maybe 12 years ago, ish, plus or minus, I don't know how far, but about that long. I was at work on a lunch break, and I was listening to gospel library stuff, and I stumbled across a broadcast, or maybe it was a BYU devotional, it was something like that, with President Holland. Mm-hmm. And he started it out, and this is exactly what it was about. It was all about contention and controlling ourselves and being peacemakers and all of that stuff. Mm-hmm. And he started the whole talk out telling a story, and he said there was a sporting event with people from a certain school at said sporting event.
Oh, yeah.
And it was a basketball game. Mm-hmm. And he said that it was a really heated game, and the fans were just angry and full. It was really, really bad.
That happened recently at a football game.
It did. But yep.
Okay.
But when this one occurred, a man that was a fan at the game was interviewed by a local news station, whatever, after the game was over. And he was so upset, and he was questioned something like, well, is this, I'm going to get this all wrong. This will be another one we'll have to link in the comments, right? But somebody asked him some question, and his response about how he behaved at the game or whatever, he said, I checked my religion at the door. Mm-hmm. And President Holland can get intense when he feels strongly about something. Mm-hmm. I think that's something we all love about him, is his intensity. Mm-hmm. And boy, he was spitting into that microphone in this talk, and he said, you never check your religion at the door.
How about we end with one more quote from this one? I love this article so much. Peacemakers Needed, or this talk.
Yeah.
My dear brothers and sisters, the best is yet to come for those who spend their lives building up others. Mm. There's the thing to remember. Yeah. How am I building this person up?
Or am I worried about myself?
Yeah.
Right.
Am I worried about myself? me right, my opinion, me whatever. No, we're going to spend our lives building others up. He said, today I invite you to examine, and we have to examine our discipleship within the context of the way you treat others. I bless you to make any adjustments that may be needed so that your behavior is ennobling. Can we stop and think? Is my behavior ennobling right now? Is it respectful and representative of a true follower of Jesus Christ?
Charity is the principal characteristic of a true follower of Jesus Christ. Charity defines a peacemaker. When we humble ourselves before God and pray with all the energy of our hearts, God will grant us charity. Those blessed with this supernal gift are long-suffering and kind. They do not envy others and are not caught up in their own importance. They are not easily provoked and do not think evil of others.
We're supposed to be being celestial beings now.
Yeah.
If we're not being celestial beings now, we're not going to just,
Right.
it's not going to just happen.
That's right.
We have to change.
Yes.
Yep.
In situations that are highly charged and filled with contention, I invite you to remember Jesus Christ. Pray to have the courage and wisdom to say or do what He would. As we follow the Prince of Peace, we will become His peacemakers.